My name is Celestine Burgess Nettles. I grew up in Natchez, Alabama. It's just a little outskirt of Beatrice, of this area.
And where do you live now?
I'm still living here in Beatrice.
Okay.
After I got married, I moved to Beatrice.
What year were you born?
I was born in 1935.
And you're how old right now?
I'm 88 years old.
What was life like growing up in Beatrice back then?
It was kind of rough because we lived way back where I was living. Wasn't any stores back there. It was one school back there, and it was called Rama. And we went from the first through the fifth grade, a one-room building. We had outdoor toilets. We had a spring behind the school. We had to go get our water. We had to go down through the woods and get wood to put in the heaters to keep us warm in the school. And I attended that school to through the fifth grade. That next year, I was supposed to have been going to another school at a little Methodist church down a couple of miles from where we live. But the school bus started running. So that made me go from where I was to Tunnel Spring. It was a little school named Rosenwald Junior High School, Tunnel Springs, Alabama. So I went there from the 6th through the 9th grade. So when I graduated from that school, I went to Monroe County Training School up here in Beatrice. That's where I graduated from the 12th grade.
After you graduated from high school, what did you do?
Well, I didn't go off to college. I got married. The same year I graduated, I got married. My husband was in service, so I never went to college.
How many kids do you have?
I have 5 kids. But I did go to work at Vanity Fair in Monroeville, Alabama. I worked there 31 years until it was closing down. So once it closed, I came home to take care of my husband because he had gotten sick.
How long were you married?
I was married about 61 or 62 years. And we had 5 children, 4 girls and 1 boy.
You guys lived in a house?
Yes, we lived in a house here in Beatrice.
It was purchased or you guys built it?
Well, it was my husband's parents' house where we lived. Yeah.
And that's the only house you guys stayed in?
Yeah, except for later years we moved in a trailer. So I'm still at that same spot now. I'm still living in that trailer. Okay. But I still have the old house. I try to keep it up. And it's still right close where I live.
Now, growing up, did you guys have indoor plumbing?
Well, where I was raised, back down in Natchez, we had outdoor toilets. We had well water. We had to pull that water from the well. We had milk cows. We had to go to the pasture, bring the cows back to the house, about 2 miles to the house. We had to milk those cows. We had to take them back to the pasture. Then we had to churn with a dasher. We had to put that milk in that churn and let it clabber, they call it. Then we would churn that milk and get that butter off that milk. Then we had a good eating when we had that buttermilk and cornbread.
So you're 88 years old right now?
Right now I'm 88.
So what do you think of times now as opposed to the times when you grew up?
It's a lot different.
Good, bad?
In a way it's good, in a way it's bad.
How's it good?
Well, we got a lot of more convenient things now. But then the bad things is the children don't know anything now about when we were coming up.
What do you think about opportunities now as opposed to when you were growing up?
I didn't have the opportunity to be exposed to a lot of things that I've been exposed to in later years. Maybe I would have went on, and tried to do something for myself. But now the children have all the opportunity, but they don't do nothing about. A lot of them don't take the advantage of it.
So you were, did you ever drive?
Drive. I'm still driving.
Oh, you're still driving?
I'm still driving at 88.
When did you start driving?
I started driving after I got married.
Okay.
I got married, and then I got me some driving license, and I've been driving ever since.
Do you remember what the first car you drove?
Drove my husband's truck. What was that truck, Joe? But my husband had that first truck.
Fleet line, wasn't it? Fleet line pickup truck.
I had one, but then he had another one, Dodge.
Dodge.
He had a Dodge truck, and I learned how to drive on that Dodge truck.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, Beatrice was a different place back when you were born.
Yeah.
Is it better these days?
Well, it's some better. Yeah, it's some better.
You've seen the difference and you live the difference.
Yeah, I've seen a big difference. A lot of changes.
Still a good place to be?
Still a good place to be, because all my family left this area, and I'm still here in this place. I never went to town to live. All my siblings left and went to various places, Mississippi, Pensacola, Ohio, Florida, and I'm the only one left back in this area.
You decided to stay?
Huh?
You decided to stay?
I decided to stay, and I'm glad I did.
Why?
I just enjoy being back in the country.
Even though things weren't as great back then
Right.
as they are now?
No, they wasn't as great, but I just enjoy being back here. I've been to California twice, but I don't like California. Too fast.
So Beatrice is the place for you?
Beatrice was the place for me. So that's where I live.
All right. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.